ESPN has fallen so far from where they were a decade ago. It's gotten to the point where someone can't even criticize an athlete for something they do on the floor or on the post-game press conference podium without someone else at ESPN saying, "You can't talk about players like that. You sound like a Fox News host. We don't care about you old fans anymore." Because that's what JJ Reddick did today to Mad Dog Russo. JJ Reddick torches Mad Dog Russo for shut up and play comment in fiery ESPN battle. The people on Fox News talk about athletes that way. And I have always liked JJ Reddick as a player in the NBA. One of the reasons I liked him was because of how hard he worked. Despite being a big name coming out of college, he really worked and improved a lot of different facets of his game over his decade in the NBA. But of course, now he's saying something like this, and it stems from Mad Dog Russo criticizing Draymond Green. And I want to play the initial thing, what he said, so you get a context of what he's talking about. Draymond came out there after Draymond got elbowed in the face and was bleeding. He had to leave the game. Memphis fans were cheering because that's what sports fans do. When somebody that you don't like leaves the game, regardless if you're injured or not, as long as you're walking, they're probably going to cheer. Draymond Green flipped him off and basically in the post-game press conference said, "I'm rich, I'll take the fine, I don't care." This is what Mad Dog says.
Earned up 25 mil. All right, I'm looking at you here, Mad Dog.
Oh, he's so hard to root for. Oh,
okay,
God,
so I guess
so
you have
hard.
an issue.
Just shut up and play, will you please?
He's so hard to root for, shut up and play.
America's tired of Draymond Green. I deal with them constantly. The fans, they're not, San Francisco fans, different story. Oh, they're so tired of, listen, be quiet and play. And we all know he's got a great skill set for that team, but who in the world is sitting there? He's so polarizing.
So that's Mad Dog's take. Shut up and play. Nobody wants to hear you go up there. You don't need to flip off the crowd. Nobody wants to hear you complain at the podium. Just shut up and play basketball. I do think a lot of people feel that way. This isn't a political thing, however. This is something that he's just talking about what happened on the floor, talking about how he's a loudmouth, how he's disrespectful, and people don't like Draymond. That's all Mad Dog's talking about. JJ Reddick turned this into some crazy offensive thing against the players. This is 2 minutes, so it's a little bit, but I think it's worth listening to.
That has the same sort of connotations that the shut up and dribble crowd has towards athletes, and I have a real problem with that, and specifically with Draymond.
The same sort of connotations that the shut up and dribble crowd has. There, he's directly going after conservatives who want people to stay out of politics. This conversation had nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with it. You can't dispute that Draymond Green is a highly polarizing figure. He absolutely is. He's been that way for a long time. Nothing to do with politics. It's about the way he plays on the floor and the way he talks. That's a reason that a lot of people love Draymond, but it's also a reason a lot of people hate him. That's what Mad Dog is saying.
On the idea that America is tired of him, you do realize the guy has a very, very popular podcast that he hosts where he talks himself for a majority.
He has a popular podcast, so he is popular with America. He talks about how we got to deal with TNT as well.
The episode, and people listen to that. He signed a talent deal with Turner because people want to hear what Draymond has to say. It's true. The reason
Yeah, there's nobody that has any deal with ESPN or Fox News or HBO or anybody that people don't want to listen to. Look at Bomani Jones. That dude's failed everywhere he's gone, but he still gets a contract with these different people. People still pay him even though he's a useless loser. It's a terrible point by JJ Reddick.
they want to hear what Draymond has to say is because just like in this press conference, he is real, authentic, and unfiltered. And as a player, he is real, authentic, and unfiltered. The edge that he carries himself with, he's talked about this since game one. Klay Thompson has talked about this since game one. It's what makes him great. It's what makes him a future Hall of Famer. It's the reason he is who he is. It's just like saying, hey, John Morant, stop dancing when you're...
And he goes and he talks about that a little bit. And he says, look, this is the personalities of what make these guys. And Mad Dog gets another chance to respond here a little bit before JJ cuts back in.
Same thing, enough already. So he is a polarizing athlete. Sure, there are certain younger fans especially that like to hear him play. I'll give you a large segment of older fans who have followed the NBA for 60 years, this is not a political scenario or a race situation, who have followed Wilt and grew up as a Knicks fan, who love Clyde and love Reed and love the Pearl.
I disagree with you on that. I'm not saying it's a race situation. I'm saying that the fans you're talking about, they talk about athletes that way, like you just talked about an athlete.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a
People on Fox, the people on Fox News talk about athletes that way.
People on Fox News talk about athletes that way. So this is where JJ Reddick is going with it. This is what he is saying.
Fox News.
That's my issue. I don't actually care about the fans that watch Bob Cousy play or watch Wilt play. I don't care. I appreciate that they've been NBA fans that.
I don't care about older NBA fans. I do not care. That's what JJ Reddick just said.
Long, but I don't appreciate the undertone.
What's the undertone? Legitimately, what is the undertone, JJ Reddick? You just said it's not racial. So is it political? I mean, what does that have to do with anything? JJ Reddick sounds like he's trying to pander to a certain audience right now. That's honestly what it sounds like. Maybe it's just because he's an athlete and doesn't like it when athletes are talked about that. It's kind of pathetic to bring in Fox News and say fuck old fans simply because Mad Dog is bringing up a valid point. I'm not a big Mad Dog Russo fan by any means, but he's bringing up a valid point that Draymond Green is a polarizing figure. That's a fact. You can talk about a podcast, you can talk about a Turner deal all you want. Draymond Green is polarizing, but that is part of what makes him who he is. I don't think he should stop doing that. That's something that Mad Dog thinks. But the idea that you're going at him like that, there's connotations behind you talking about athletes that way. Shut the fuck up, JJ Reddick, you pussy ass bitch. You really do sound like a beta in this. I don't even know exactly the point you're trying to make by bringing up Fox News, by, basically throwing older fans under the bus. But this is what ESPN is now. JJ Reddick, Stephen A. Smith, Mad Dog Russo sitting around and talking about how we don't like it when people say, shut up and play. It sounds too much like Fox News. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.